know it's been a long time since I posted anything or uploaded anything. It wasn't a joke of some sort. The last two videos were just little jokes. And I guess it's because I haven't really been taking this YouTube channel very seriously. But I want to in 2018, and I want to change things up a little bit. And I've talked about it. Oh, sorry for that noise. I talked about it a long time ago about changing the format, doing. Wow, those taillights make me look like I have a sunburn. Wanting to do, more videos outside the car where I'm just sitting and talking. So that's the plan for 2018. Actually, do this this channel with a little bit more sincerity and a little bit more organization. And I picked up a webcam because the webcam on my laptop is garbage. It's just balls. So I picked up what I understand to be a pretty good webcam, and I'll start doing more videos like that. The first one I'll do is going to be a live stream this Friday night with Irving Twin. He's another Canadian YouTuber with a little channel like mine, a little bit bigger. He's got a few more subscribers than I do, but hopefully that'll be good. I'm counting on it being pretty good. His channel's pretty solid. He shares a lot of the same sentiments I do. So, but his whole shtick is that he smokes and drinks while he's ranting about typically Canadian politics more than anything else. But I'm sure he touches on politics from south of the border as well, and Europe and whatnot. Anyway, look for that this Friday. It'll be 7 p.m. Eastern time on his channel. That I believe it'll be broadcast. I don't know if I can broadcast at the same time. I've never done it, so we'll see. I don't see why not. But I guess what I want to talk about in today's video is a recent Facebook group and movement, I guess you'd call it, called the Liberalists. If you follow Sargon on social media and on YouTube, I guess he recently did a debate with the head of the alt-right, Richard Spencer, and he received some criticism because he didn't really take it very seriously, and he was sort of goofing it the whole time. And people gave him crap about it, saying, "Hey, look, like it or not, you're kind of a figurehead for, the skeptic community, or this sort of camp of political folk, the classic liberals, I guess you'd call it, or classic liberals." And I guess he took that criticism to heart, and he said, "Yeah, you know what? I want to start doing more, serious stuff with regards to liberalism, classic liberalism." And so his coining of the phrase, and I don't think it's actually not really coining the phrase, the word exists, but nobody really uses it, liberalists, is the idea, at least in the video when he made this apology, is that, a person who promotes or is an activist for feminism is a feminist. A person who promotes or advocates for communism is a communist. And a person who is an activist for or promotes the concept of liberalism is a liberalist. Meaning he wants to separate himself out from, simply being, a skeptic of SJW and progressive politics, and actually start engaging in activism for liberal values. And when I heard that, I'm like, brilliant, good idea, awesome. I think that's really good, and I can get on board with something like that. So somebody, I guess, who watched the video made a Facebook page. He's unaffiliated with Carl Benjamin, Sargon, but he made a Facebook page called The Liberalists. And I guess Sargon made a actual webpage called theliberalists.org. And what I thought it was going to be was basically liberal people advocating and being activists for liberalism. But for the past week and a half or so, everything on the Facebook page is, political posts of what's our position on this? What's the liberalist philosophy on this? And it seems like there's a bit of a pissing match between libertarians, in the sense of classic liberals approaching the libertarian bent, and progressive, almost regressive liberals that are proscriptive liberals, right? Where they want to enact change through government policy and mandated action, where, people should be forced to do this. If you're going to do this, you must be required to do this. And I'm like, that's not very liberal to think that there should be an authority in place forcing behavior from people, forcing people to behave in a certain way that, isn't meant as a protection of the rights of others, but more as a prescriptive sort of social construction mandate. And I'm like, you guys aren't liberal. You're authoritarians. And I posted that this morning. Like, I go away for a couple days and I see post after post of people saying, should people be forced to? Or should so-and-so be required to? Or should it be mandatory that? And I'm like, how is this a liberal page? How is this anything to do with classic liberalism? One of the posts was, it was a poll asking if the two options were, the question was, should voting be mandatory? And the options were, yes, I believe in democracy, and no, democracy sucks. And I'm like, what? I mean, I think a lot of times people make these polls and these posts with, with a bit of glibness. But, like, that's one, not liberal. And two, just because you don't think there should be mandatory voting doesn't mean you hate democracy. But, so I shared my thoughts. The idea that you're going to make people participate in the electoral process is so anti-democratic as to, string credulity, as people might say. Look, voting's a serious thing, right? Most people think, my vote doesn't matter, it's just one vote. But you don't get more democracy by forcing people who are uninformed on the issues, uninformed on the candidates, and don't really care about anything. You don't gain more democracy by forcing them to vote. You actually undermine democracy. So this idea that people should be forced to vote, or mandatory voting, I think they have mandatory voting in Australia. And I don't suppose it works out very well. I think it actually probably undermines democracy and leads towards a less accountable political class. And here's why. If you are forced to go out every election day and vote for somebody, you're doing, one of two things. You're voting for one of the candidates that you may or may not be informed about, or you're saying none of the above. Now, since that none of the above doesn't count towards anything, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of your energy, and all it will ever do is let the people in power know that they're dissatisfied with the choices. The people are dissatisfied with the choices. It doesn't remove their mandate. It doesn't not conclude an election. So then it becomes like one of these chores, these exercises that people go through, these rituals that people go through, that they don't feel the need to be informed because it's forced upon it. Kind of like blue box recycling programs, right? People think that they're being forced to put their recyclables in a blue box and their compostables in a green box. and they think they're doing something for the environment, and they think that this ritual absolves me of taking any sort of responsibility for, actually giving a shit about the planet. Same would go with mandatory voting. People would show up to the polls every election day, and they would go through the ritual of either picking a candidate or writing none of the above, and feel as though they're participating in democracy. The problem is that the people who are uninformed and are apathetic about democracy being forced to go out there and go either none of the above or pick a candidate who has, the nicest smile, they're doing damage to democracy. They're undermining the votes of the people who actually give a shit and want to see change in their government. I'll be honest though, I have sort of a love-hate relationship with democracy. I'm a big believer of the adage that democracy is 2 wolves and a lamb voting on what to eat for dinner. And that's why I think the U.S. got it right with the Electoral College, so that it's not simply a matter of majority wins, right? But I read something recently as an add-on to that adage. Democracy is 2 wolves and a lamb voting on what to eat for dinner. Liberty is a lamb with a gun. So, and I guess in the U.S., their gun is the Electoral College, right? It means that the people who could be marginalized simply by virtue of where they've chosen to live have the ability to affect the outcome of any election. Anyway, I found that this post, should voting be mandatory, was like, that's probably the most illiberal thing I've ever heard. And there was another one, should citizens be allowed to carry guns? I'm like, what is with this authoritarian bent on the Liberalists page? Anyway, check it out. Go look at the Liberalists Facebook page. It looks like they're letting anybody join who wants to. And it's full of authoritarian, I guess, left-leaning people who consider themselves liberals, but in my mind aren't really liberal at all, because all they want to do is empower government to force people to behave in a way they want. And then there's a bunch of libertarians on there too that say, yeah, no. Anyway. I'm also, of course, I follow a couple of libertarian groups. Libertarians of North America, Libertarians of Southern Ontario, Libertarian Party of Canada. I know it's a long shot to vote for the Libertarian candidate, but I mean, they're never going to gain any traction unless I do. So anyway, yeah, so look for myself on Irving Twins' channel, his live stream on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thanks for watching. And again, look for more videos of a different format in 2018. Thanks very much. Have a great day.